Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Another blessed day, another great day to be alive. Just grateful to, have you around, listening, giving me your ears. I appreciate you. I'm nothing without you, so I really appreciate you all listening. Um, I've ran into a few people who actually did listen to it, and so it was really a great feeling to hear from you all, and you all give me such positive words because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I didn't expect it to reach that many people, but for it to happen the way it did, like this is what I was looking for. Like I don't need any self gratification. Just if I can know that someone is out there listening and it did something for them, that's all that I care about, to be honest with you. So thank you all so much. Today's episode is going to be about restoring relationships after addiction. Man, that's hard. That's hard. Any of us who are recovering addicts or, still in the midst of our addiction and trying to get our way out. Usually when you're in addiction, at some point you've hurt someone. Friend, best friend, grandma, uncle, aunt, mom, dad, children, spouse. Someone's been hurt by your addiction. That's just what addiction does. Addiction doesn't allow you to think in the right mindset. So it kind of goes hand in hand when you're in the midst of addiction. You hurt someone. It could be a complete stranger, but you hurt someone. And so, for those of us who have damaged a relationship in our circle, and you're wondering, like, what can I do to fix this? Like, I've gone too far to the left, or this person will never forgive me. Don't feel that way. That's not the way it works. Obviously, it takes restoration. It takes time. It takes you putting in a lot of effort, and actions speak louder than words. You hear that, but that's just what it is. That's the truth. So we're going to talk a little bit about restoring the relationships that have been damaged. I know how it is. I can tell you from self-experience, which I'll get into a little bit later on in the episode. But so the first thing that I think about when it's restoring a relationship is you got to start with yourself. You have to start with yourself. So you might be asking, how do I restore this relationship by working on myself? Well, first of all, you got to be honest with yourself. Hey, this is a problem. This is what I did. This is what caused it, my way of thinking. So when I got out of my addiction, the first thing that I taught myself was to rewire my way of thinking. So you can't think the way that you thought, because then you'll end up where you were. And God knows that's not where I wanted to be. So I took the time and I literally started with my morning and said, what can I do differently with my morning? Because I don't know about you all, but for me, my morning is set up, or should I say my morning sets me up for the rest of my day. So if my morning is off tilter, the rest of my day is kind of like playing catch up, trying to fix it, trying to adjust. So it's really important to me that I have my morning start off the right way. So for you, it may be differently, but I'll just tell you a little bit about my routine. So I have a routine. I get up. First of all, I have a timer on my phone, an alarm clock, should I say, for 7:00 in the morning. And that is for me to pray. So I might get up at 6 a.m. I might get up at 6:30, but at 7 a.m., no matter what I'm doing, I take time and I pray. And I just ask God for forgiveness for everything that I did in the past. But I also ask him to put me in the right frame of mind to continue to propel forward, because addiction will have you just making the wrong moves, even though you know the right moves. It'll also have you hard on yourself and beating yourself down and kicking yourself while you're down. So that's one thing I ask God for, is to give me perseverance, give me strength. I thank him for all my mistakes. I know that sounds crazy, but every single day I pray and I thank God for my mistakes. I thank him for my setbacks. I thank him for previous times where I relapsed. I thank him for my struggles, because The person sitting in front of you right now would not be here if it wasn't for those things. And we like to be grateful for the good things that happen, but the bad things are what shape us. The bad things, or I don't want to say the bad things, but the difficult times, the adversities. Those are the things that shape us into who we are. So it's important to be grateful for the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I make sure that I thank him for my setbacks, for my struggles, for my negatives. I thank him for my weaknesses. I thank him for every single thing that I could have made a better decision and did. I thank him for it. And then I thank him for the present, the moment that I'm in. I thank him for recovery. I thank him for sobriety. I just say to myself, where would I be if you would have left my side? And maybe you're not a spiritual person, but I knew through my struggles, I had to rest on something else. And I grew up in the church. My mother kept us in the church, like I told you all. But it was also something that never left my side. It never left me. Even in the midst of my alcoholism, there was times I would sing a gospel song and I had to be like, oh, no, back up. Can't be singing gospel songs while you're drunk, or can't be singing gospel songs while you're high on marijuana. But it's like he never left me. He was always there and like talking to me. And that's how you know that things are headed in the right direction. When your spirit is convicted, whether you're spiritual or not, if your gut conscience is telling you, hey, that's not right. That's not right. That's a good sign. I know you might be hard on yourself and be like, why did I make the wrong decision? It's a good sign that your conscience bothers you. That's a good sign. It took me a long time to realize that, because I was just hard on myself. I said to myself, there's no reason why I made the wrong decision. I know better. I know right from wrong, but addiction, it'll do it to you every time. So make sure that, you rest your cares upon something a little bit higher than you. For me, I know that changing another person is not within my grasp. I am not capable of those things. So why would I put that kind of expectations on myself? Why would I put those kind of burdens on myself? No, I'm not. So what I do is I pray and I ask God to not only change me, but change that other person. Change this person. If I'm trying to restore a relationship that I damaged because of my behavior, I say, you know what? Just continue to push me to strive to be a better human being, and just allow this person to have mercy on me and to have understanding. Sometimes that's a little bit difficult, but it takes time. And I promise you, it's not going to happen overnight. See what it say back there? But it will happen. It will happen as long as you back up your words with actions. Faith without works, you're not going anywhere with it. So pray. That's what I do every morning. I have to work out. I have to work out. I know it's not good to work out 7 days a week, but even if I do, 2 days out of the week, I do 10, 15-minute workout, nothing crazy. I have to work out. I have to get my brain together. And, I feel the endorphins in my body when I wake out. When I work out, I feel great. I feel like I have so much energy. I feel like my body is like rolling on all cylinders. I can just take on the world. So for me, it requires some working out. And for those of you who don't work out, like I said, you don't have to do a 45-minute workout or a 1-hour workout. Start out with 10 minutes. 10 minutes goes a long way. You might not think so, but just imagine going from no workout at all to like a little 10-minute workout where you get your heart rate up a little bit, get it going a little bit. I promise you, it's going to change your mindset. And mental workout as well, not just a physical workout. Physical workouts are great and it does do a lot for your mental. But what about a mental workout? So I might write down in a journal. That might be a way for you to get your mental workout. Journaling. Write through your emotions from the previous day. Digest them. Or even if you have to do it the night before, Do it the night before. So that way you go to bed with a clean conscience, a clean mind. You can sleep better, wake back up the next day and start that day all over again. Because nothing is worse than carrying over yesterday's emotions into a brand new day. It's a new 24. It's a new chance. It's a new opportunity to wipe the slate clean. So don't carry things over from the previous day. If it's a grudge, work it out. If it's a problem, get a solution. But try not to stress from yesterday or bring your stress from yesterday into your new day, because it only continues to build and it affects the rest of your day. You don't want that. So I exercise. I make sure that I pray. And then I get me a good smoothie in. I don't know about you all, but breakfast might be something different for you. Totally get it. But mine is smoothies. And I mean like real smoothies. I go get some vegetables. I get some fruits. I throw all kind of crazy stuff in my smoothie. You might not want to drink mine. I will put like red pepper, cilantro. I mean, whatever you can think of, I'll mix it in there. Beets, all kind of stuff. But it's really important to me that I get my nutrients to get myself or help myself get into the proper frame of mind. So do what you deem necessary. Do whatever it is, whatever it takes. If it takes meditation, go for it. Go for it. I hear a lot of people say meditation helps them. Do it. That's awesome. Take time for yourself. Self-love matters. You can't love anybody else without loving yourself first. So self-love matters. But start out with rewiring your thinking. Make sure that you change your thoughts, those usual thoughts you might have when someone approaches you. Oh, here they come. No, don't think like that. Say, you know what? Instead of me thinking, oh, here this person comes. Here's my anxiety going through the roof. Just take a deep breath. Say, you know what? I'm going to approach this differently. It's all about your approach. It's all about your perspective. I flipped my way of thinking. I was never really a pessimistic person, but when I tell you I have a different outlook on life, it just made me not stress or sweat the little things. Like, I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Like, I can work through that. And it's all about perspective. If you telling yourself that you can make it through this and you're constantly reaffirming that matters. Saying that out loud, saying it in the mirror, letting yourself know that you're gorgeous or you're handsome and there's nothing nobody can do about it. That matters. So self-love, whatever that may be, prayer, meditation, working out, getting a good breakfast in. Some of you all have pets. I don't have pets, but maybe spend a little time with your little cuddly one. You like to play with the dog or, cuddle with the kitten. Do what you may need, but rewire your thinking. Get yourself a morning habit, and I promise you it'll set the tone for the rest of your day. Another thing, like identify your triggers. That's a big thing for me. It was something that I only learned through therapy, to be honest with you. Everybody has triggers. Mine tend to be people who are disrespectful. I can go from 0 to 60 real quick when I feel disrespected. And I had to learn that that's not always the right response. So take another route. Again, take a deep breath. And if I feel myself getting angry, I step outside of the environment. If I'm at work, I say, you know what? I need about 2 minutes to step outside, take a deep breath, pray, ask God to get me together because I'm still living in the flesh. And anyone who knows me knows my temper can, in the past, it was probably my biggest weakness. But I refuse to let that control me because, especially nowadays in 2022, people will kill you in a heartbeat. They're not even thinking, like, the quality of life doesn't matter anymore. So don't put yourself in that situation just to prove a point. Just like, no, you know what? It's okay to get angry. It's okay to be sad, but digest it and waste it out and move on. Don't hang on to it. But identify those triggers, identify things that typically would bother you, and try to work on a different approach so that they don't bother you, because that relieves a lot of stress off of you as well. That's one of the biggest things that I had to work on with myself, to be honest with you. And identify how you hurt each person individually. That's a tough one, because the way you hurt grandma might be different than the way you hurt your best friend. But you have to identify with that and take that time to acknowledge it. That goes into how to rebuild these relationships now that you've kind of damaged them a little bit. So me personally, I dealt with each person on a one-on-one basis. Okay, this is what I did to this person. And I asked them, I know how I think I hurt you, but tell me how I really hurt you. Tell me exactly what I did to hurt you. Oh, well, this time you did this and that time you did that, and I really didn't like your drinking. And I said, okay, cool. So first and foremost, I want to apologize for that. I want to apologize for my behavior. I want to apologize for making you feel uncomfortable or making you feel unhappy, because that was never my intentions. I never wake up trying to harm any other person. That's just not how I work. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So if I hurt someone's feelings, I definitely have to apologize, even if that wasn't my intentions. That's how it was perceived. And so I owe an apology just for that alone. So individual basis, how did you hurt this individual? Did you steal money from them? Were you in a drunken stupor and, broke their favorite glassware or something along those lines? You have to rectify that situation. You have to rectify it. So identify with the fact that you hurt them. Apologize and mean it. Be sincere. Like, just apologizing to say it, people know when you're sincere and when you aren't. So it's in your best interest, if you really want to rebuild this relationship, to be sincere when you're apologizing and follow through with your actions. So definitely want to make sure you take ownership for your past actions. That's key number one. Acknowledge how your behavior impacted them. How did this hurt you? Okay. Well, first and foremost, I'll never do that again. I'm now in recovery. I will try my best. Let's not, when you're in recovery, it's hard. We have setbacks. But say I will try my best to never do that to you again. Now that I know this hurt you in this way, this is how we're going to handle this going forward. Be patient. Whew, that's a tough one for me. I am so forgiving to others. So it's very difficult when a person won't forgive me. For me, I'm ready to cut you off. I'm like, oh, you don't want to forgive me? After all you did to me and I forgave you, and you still bringing this up and talking about, okay, cool, I'm done. And that's not always the best response. That's not always the best response. So make sure that you be patient. Give this person time. It took time for you to damage the relationship. It's going to take time for you to heal it. So, and usually, what do they say? It doesn't take long for a bad reputation to spread. It doesn't. But it takes a lot of work for a good one to spread. So be patient with that person. They have to heal in their own way. It's not up to you to decide how they heal. Just as if you were coping with something, you would want people to understand your process and how you heal. You have to give them the same respect. So be patient. A lot of people aren't going to be convinced that you changed, especially if you've had this pattern for quite some time. Let's say you've been abusing a substance for 10 years. What's the likelihood that they're going to believe you? Slim to none. They're like, yeah, I heard this before. Yeah, I know. You're going to get sober. Well, you know what? First and foremost, you believe in yourself. Don't let anyone else's opinion of you dictate what you believe about yourself. It's called self-esteem. So don't let anyone else's opinion dictate your self-esteem, especially when you're in recovery. There's going to be family members that are just like, oh no, they're not going to get any better. Trust me, I heard those things. But it's important that you stay focused, keep your eye on the prize, and realize no matter what, I'm going to keep fighting. You don't have to believe me, but you will eventually, because you're going to see it through my actions. So stay with it. Stick with it. Don't let anybody deter you. That's a big thing for me. It's going to be hard work, and it's going to require a lot of time. Patience and time. Stick with it. Stay resilient. Stay consistent. Consistency is key as well. Making sure that you're showing a pattern, because it was a pattern of abuse for a long time. So make sure it's a pattern of love, a pattern of actions that are positive, because that's exactly what people are waiting on. They want to see you form a pattern. If you did something for a couple of days and then went right back to your old ways, they were like, okay, you didn't change. So consistency throughout a significant amount of time matters. Realize that the relationship may not be the way that it was before. Whew. So that's a big one for me as well. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to open up a little bit. So because of my drinking, I can honestly say that, my marriage probably went in the wrong direction. A lot of it because of my drinking. And again, like I told you all before, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm not an abusive drinker. I was never that type of person. I was the comedian. I wanted to make everybody laugh. So that was always my thing. But the sheer fact that I drink, my spouse could not take it. He couldn't take it. And I did it for many, many years. So I recall a point where I was talking on the phone with my mother, and my mom said, yeah, he told me one day you would never go sober, that you're always going to be a drunk. And that hurt. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was like, what? Like, that's my spouse. He's supposed to have my back. He's supposed to be the guy that believes in me when I don't believe in myself. We made this oath before God that through thick and thin and better or worse, da-da-da-da-da. And so it was very difficult for me to hear that. But he was right. I showed him a pattern of abuse for so many years. And so many times I told him I was going to quit drinking. My favorite one is I can quit drinking, or I can quit this substance at any point whenever I want to. So why haven't you then? If that's the case, if that's what you got going on, why haven't you done it? It's not easy. And I'm not trying to point the finger. Like I said, I quit many times before I quit. It's not easy, but be honest with yourself. Don't tell yourself that you can stop at any moment, because if that's the case, while you hurting others around you, you would have stopped. Clearly, you don't have as much control as you think you do. So be real with yourself. Be honest and say, hey, this is a struggle for me, but I'm going to get out of it. I just need you to be patient. But back to my spouse. He had no faith in me. He didn't believe in the fact that I was going to make it. He just was like, yeah, no. And, in his defense, I hate to say this, but in his defense, I saw where he was coming from. Like, I didn't see it in the midst of my alcoholism, but I definitely have seen it since I became sober. And I get it. I said, man, he sat back and watched me go downhill gradually. And it's not like he just didn't say anything. He told me, he's like, look, you're drinking a lot. What's going on? I remember very early on with him being like, why you drink like this? Do you want to go get seen? And I was like, no, I don't, I'm good. I had some things in my childhood, but I dealt with it. I'm fine. And I thought I wasn't lying to him. I wasn't making it up. I really thought that I was okay. I really thought that I had dealt with it, even though all I did was internalize it. I thought that I had digested it and it was gone. It was from many years ago, so I'm okay. And that was the furthest from the truth. I found out later on, but that was the furthest from the truth. So, that was hard for me to hear that he had lost faith in me. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. People are going to lose faith in you. But again, you got to persevere and fight through that. People are entitled to their opinions. Everyone is. It doesn't mean it's factual. It doesn't mean that it's set in stone. Everyone is capable of changing. It's how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? I remember looking in the mirror at my skin as it was dehydrating, looking at the black circles under my eyes. And, I was like, my skin was actually starting to like turn pale. And I noticed little signs here and there, but I'll never forget a good friend of mine. He was one of my managers at a restaurant I worked at. When I went sober, he told me, he said, your skin looks so much better. And I was blown away because most males aren't paying attention to that. But he told me, he was like, your skin looks so much better. I said, dang. So I knew that I was doing damage to my body. I knew that I had to be doing something wrong because I noticed it. I kept it to myself. But then for this young man to bring it to my attention as well, it was just like, wow. So it was hard. Back to the point at hand, it was hard to definitely swallow that pill and know that, the person, one of the people closest to me had lost faith in me. But the one thing about me is I didn't allow that to deter me. I actually used that as motivation. I said, okay, cool. I got you. You don't believe that I'm going to get sober? Watch this. Watch this. And I did. Cold turkey. Just, I said I couldn't take it no more. Couldn't take the way my body was feeling. Couldn't do it anymore. So I quit. And the first month came and went. Second month came and went. Third month came and went. And I think they started to believe me like 5 or 6 months in. They were just like, okay, maybe she's actually doing this. But I'd be lying to you if I told you this person didn't accuse me of drinking a couple of times in my sobriety, where I was like, really? I've been clean how long? And you still checking cups? You still looking at my cup and smelling my drink? First and foremost, don't ever smell my food or my drink because I am all the way put off. And I know a lot of you all can agree. If I catch your nose over my food or my drink, I don't want it anymore. It's now yours. I don't know what fell out of your nose. I'm good on that. So I was just like, why are you sniffing my drinks and stuff like that? You tasting my drink to make sure ain't nothing in there. I've been clean how long? I was insulted. But again, I had to remember, I put this person in a position where they couldn't trust me, or they felt like they couldn't believe me. Not necessarily trust me, they just couldn't believe me. So I had to accept that. That was something that was kind of challenging for me to accept. But I didn't let it tear me down. And then, let's talk about this. Some relationships aren't meant to be mended. If that person abuses a substance as well, you don't need to hang on to that. I lost a lot of friends when I went sober. Some to my own doing. I'm not blaming everybody else in the world, but I had to, I don't want to say alienate myself. I really had to look at my circle. And if I knew that it was anyone in my circle who couldn't go a few days or a week or 2 weeks without drinking, I didn't need to be around them. If they smoked weed all the time, I didn't need to be around them because I was serious about my sobriety. So I knew that relationship was going to have to end. If not end, it was going to have to be put on pause because I had to take myself seriously. I'm going to be honest with you. I felt like I was in a life or death situation. I felt like my body was telling me, you better quit now I remember standing in my bathroom and hearing God's voice. And he's like, I had been praying for like 2 years to get sober, and hearing God's voice. And he was just like, you either can stop now, or this is going to end you. It's going to end you. And I had so much fear in me hearing that in my head. It scared the life out of me. And like I said, my kidneys were hurting. My skin complexion had changed. I was getting blotches and patches on my skin where it was like discoloration. I remember like the smell of my urine was strong. It smelled like sulfur from drinking wine and all kind of stuff. Like I remember every single bit of it. And it scared me. It scared me to the point where I was like, yo, I don't want to die like this. I don't want to die like this. I don't want to die from alcohol hepatitis. I don't want to die from cirrhosis of the liver. I've got 2 kids that I'm raising. I want to be around for them to have children. I want to live the best life I can. I want to go on vacations. I want to enjoy myself. I want to do all these things, but that's not going to happen if I continue this way. So it freaked me out. But I had to hit rock bottom. But me hitting rock bottom made me look at my circle and look at other people around me. So I did kind of alienate myself. I stayed at home. I didn't go anywhere but work at home. Everybody who I used to hang out with and drink, I stopped hanging out with everybody. And you all know I love you. It's nothing personal. It was just business. I had to cut some folks loose. And I will hang out with them now. But at that time, I was too weak-minded. If I would have went into a bar, I would have drank. If I had walked into an ABC store, I would have purchased something. So I literally had to stop going to Harris Teeter. I had to stop going to certain places. I had to pump my gas outside so I didn't go into the gas station where I could go pick up a beer. Like it took a lot of mental fortitude for me. It took a lot for me to really stop and say, okay, whatever it takes to get through this, you got to do it. You got to. But cutting loose some people that I really cared about was hard for me. But I knew, and let me tell you this, if they're truly a friend or someone who loves you, they'll always be there. And they will respect your decision. Anybody who's like, oh man, you ain't cool no more. You don't hang out with me no more. Now you want to live this sober life. That's not a friend. That's not a friend. And you better run far and fast and ask them to kick rocks. Bye. That's not a friend. A true friend will say, I'm proud of you. I'll understand that you need to stay away from me. I'll get back with you when you're ready. Like, let me know. It doesn't mean that, we don't love you as an addict. It doesn't mean that we don't care about you. It's just we're serious about our addiction and getting clean and getting out of that situation. So, but one of the things that I had to cut loose was my spouse. I had to cut him loose. Because the negativity that happened in our relationship, and partially due to my drinking, I couldn't forget some of the words that were said, some of the hurtful things that were said, things that were brought up, thrown in my face. I had to just be like, you know what? This isn't love. Love doesn't work this way. So it took a great deal of resolve in me to finally say, you know what? I've got to close this chapter in my life. I got to close this chapter in my life. Got to quit this job. I got to stop hanging out with the people I'm hanging out with. You know what? I got to cut my spouse loose. I got to let him go because this person doesn't love me. They don't love me when they're bringing up the old and the new, when they are continuously accusing me of being under the influence when I've been sober for multiple months. It was hard for me to do that, but that's what I did. So you got to do what you got to do. And if people care, they'll understand. That's just what it takes. So you can do it. Keep your mind to it. Keep fighting. Persevere. Rebuild those relationships. They will come. They will come. Just take time, patience, love, understanding, and prayer. Lots of prayer. Be blessed.